Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Whatever time you're watching this, wherever you're watching this from. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another video. And what's going on with the housing? Like, I'm seeing so many posts about people getting evicted. Um, people can't afford homes, first time buyers, they can't afford homes. I know in some places they've had to literally deflate housing costs because people are just not buying them as much as they used to, and it has a lot to do with the cost of these rentals of these houses, and it's got a lot to do with the wages, right? Like, people could comfortably rent their homes out before, people were buying homes, selling homes even. But it seems in 2025 it's just not as prominent as it was. And I've been seeing like actual realtors and people that work in the housing market. They said it's pretty much the worst time ever that we've been experiencing for homeowners, potential homeowners, renters, so on and so forth. If you're on renters assistance for your house, like such as like welfare, things like that, people are getting evicted. It's already pretty much documented that 2.7 million Americans per year pretty much face the eviction what word am I trying to look for? They face challenges, I would say, like eviction challenges or risk of being evicted. So this year in 2025, I believe they have somewhere around 1 million people in the past 12 months that have actually applied for evictions, which it seems like it's went down at least a little bit over. I won't say I know exactly, but it seems like it's went down for the regular year time. But also in the same breath, it's like first time homeowners are not buying homes, or there's no real assistance. Even in the election, right? Like in the election, this is what they was talking about. They was like, they know the prices of housing is up and people can't afford homes, and you had Kamala Harris was saying like she had some sort of plan for first time buyers, right? She was going to give them like so much amount of money, and then Trump says he has his plan to help first time buyers as well. So it seems like neither one of the plans are allowing people to buy homes for the first time, or allowing people to even afford their rent, because so many Americans rent has just shot up. Like, and if you go and look online, you go and look on any of these social media platforms, and you just search in rent prices, any of that stuff, like it's just going up, and it's just like skyrocketed. Certain people that was comfortably paying their rent every month from what they could afford with the wages that they were making, and whenever the cost of living was a little bit lower, now just even an extra $200-$300, they're going up. People are going homeless because of this. And so, and then you have people forced into homelessness. Basically, some people are going into homeless encampments, which they're also facing challenges with that in state to state. So it's pretty much like a epidemic with just the homes right now, and people not being able to actually afford even the homes that they've lived in. People having to sell their houses, and then their houses just sitting up on the market for so long because they're not selling. So then maybe people have to take a cut in percentage that they're actually looking for to buy their homes. So and it's like, it's just the economy right now, and I just keep hearing like in the government, the economy is great, everything is up right now, grocery prices and all this stuff. So a lot of the times, if that was the case, to me personally, I don't think people would be saying, man, I'm not going to pay the rent if the government shut down. I'm not going to pay this if this is that. Like, we shouldn't be paying this, or we're paying taxes still while the government shut down, which is it. At minimum, people should be able to at least afford their rent or some type of housing, right? Because if not, people are out on the streets, and usually sometimes people go into homelessness, and then they lose their identification, they lose a lot more than just their ability to live, especially comfortably. People are living in their cars and they're still working jobs. So it doesn't make a lot of sense how people are working full-time jobs, and then they wake up one day, they get laid off, and now they're suddenly they have to live in their car. Like, that's not right. That's not an America that is profitable. That's not an America that is an economy that is picking up or anything. The unemployment rate is higher than it was, so it doesn't make sense. Like, the math isn't math, and the math's not adding up, because you have people losing their homes, losing their jobs in the same sense, and then the grocery prices are up, the inflation's up, and it's ridiculous. Because where is the American dream? And I'm not talking about, a super expensive home and this and that, but just even just like a home, a fence, and this is figurative, not literal, but like, let's just say a home, a fence, that you can, a dog, maybe a family pet, something like that you could comfortably live with, where you're not constantly struggling living paycheck to paycheck just to pay the rent. So you pay your rent, and then some people, they miss on their rent because they can't afford it, because let's say they was paying $1,400, now it's $1,700, and all they could afford was $1,400. So now you have to change where you live at. You have to look, and then you get an eviction on your record. And then that makes it at least so much harder for you to go and rent another place. So what is the plan, or what is the policy that people are going to be able to actually afford their housing again? Because if you don't have a house, like, I know it's the saying, you don't work, you don't eat, but if you don't have a house, it just becomes so much harder, because now you're subject to being out in the streets, living in your car. Then you have to worry about car expenses, right? Because you're putting all that extra energy into your car. And now let's say you don't have the money as it is, and now you have to pay for maintenance, repairs, tires, and those are expensive. Like, I don't believe everybody just has $400 sitting put aside for tires at any given time, right? Just any given time, your tire pops, your tire goes out, you got to buy 4 brand new tires, or most people will go to a used tire shop. Most people go to a used tire shop because they already know that it's something manageable. But even 40, 80, 120, even that, just for tires, like, some people don't have it. Like, people are living paycheck to paycheck, and you just don't have enough to just even the basic necessities for your car, right? Let's just say you have to maintain it, maintenance, especially right now if you're financing a car and you have to pay a car note, and then you have your rent, then you have to put gas in the car, and then you have to pay for repairs if it's out of warranty. So it's just crazy to think, like, when you actually sit back and think, how could the economy be great whenever these are the everyday challenges that people are dealing with? And then we have nerve to talk about immigrants and this and that, right? But the people in America are starving. The people in America are going homeless. The people that are working for this country, that are U.S. citizens, that have been working for years and years and years, they're still not living in a comfortable space, right? They may be living, and you even have people moving back in with their parents that was on their own at one time because they just can't afford it anymore. They just can't afford to. And the people that are fortunate enough to be able to move back with their parents and things like that. But some people don't have anybody. Some people have absolutely nobody that they can run to and turn to, and they know that they can live comfortably. And so a lot of these people have kids. These people are going homeless with their kids. These people are going homeless by themselves. And like certain people, they're in apartments, they're in these houses and stuff like that, but they don't have food, right? They're in there, and all they have is enough for rent, and they have to eat bologna sandwiches and bread and cheese. They can't go and actually enjoy a full cooked meal or whatever. Like, I'm seeing videos of people saying they've been in their homes for years and years and years, and they never have food. They never have a full stock refrigerator. They never have a full stock freezer. And these are hardworking, every single day working people, full-time job workers, and you can see that, or you should see that, with just the federal workers right now. It's like 1 month they're worried about food stamps, And, they're talking about food stamps, and there's federal workers in the food banks. And then there's food banks that just simply get overloaded by the amount of people that are actually losing their benefits that they actually need, right? Now, you do, like I said, you're always going to have the critics in the comments that say, well, not all these people deserve it. It shouldn't be 41 million people on food stamps. And that's a true statement. It shouldn't be, but it is, right? It maybe it shouldn't be so many people on it, but there is. And clearly, if they're on it, some of the people, or at least the majority of people, need it, especially whenever you go and look up why these people need it, because they're living below the poverty line. So like some people that do go work their full-time job, they work their 50-60 hours a week, getting paid whatever wage that they're getting paid, simply just not enough, getting paid whatever they're getting paid, they're not able to pay the rent, pay their car insurance, buy gas, and have a full stocked refrigerator full of food. And these are people that have been working. So even though that you're going to have a bunch of people come in the comments and say, well, I've been working 13 years, I've been working 30 years, I've been working the past 20 years, I'm this age. The ultimate topic, the ultimate thing is the economy is in a terrible position at this point right now, right? But you have the stock markets up, all that stuff, and that's great. And so if you invest in stock, right, and you have stock, that's good for you, because yes, in that sense, you might be having money that is set up, but that's why there's a thing called the stock market crash, which means it can crash, which also means it's not guaranteed. So just a little insight there. It's not guaranteed. So you can put your money in stocks and the stock market can go up. But even like with the crypto stuff, you got people that have cryptocurrency. People have actually committed suicide because they have lost their currency, their cryptocurrency. So don't talk about, you should invest in stocks right now, because truth be told, if everybody can invest in stocks, if they had the money to invest in stocks, they would invest in stocks. So, but people got to have extra money. A lot of people, well, I've heard, I don't know exactly, but I heard at least like 70-something% of Americans don't have $1,000 saved up, $2,000 saved up. And it shows because if there's 41 million Americans that need, or 42 million Americans that need food assistance benefits and living assistance, I don't know how many, what the correct number of like welfare recipients and things like that. I don't know the correct number, but I know that if you have to do that, it's more than likely you're not being able to afford your rent, you're not being able to stock your fridge fully, or you're not being able to live comfortably, based on the fact that many of the people, the majority of the people that are eligible to receive the stamps, are living below the poverty line. So that's just kind of like the topic that's just, it's making me think a lot, because we shouldn't be living below the poverty line if there's 42 million people that need those things. But aside from the 42 million people that need the benefits, like the rest of us that don't receive them are still seemingly living below the poverty line. Not maybe literally, maybe like you have a household that you don't qualify. Maybe you have some certain amount of people in your homes that are working, and their wages just don't allow you to qualify for the benefits. But it doesn't mean that you're not still living below the poverty line, because you see it every single day whenever people are coming out and they're saying, I work every day, I work for 10 years, I work for 15 years, and I still can't go in the store and buy exactly what I want. I go in the store and buy what I need. And the fact that, and it's not a bad thing that people are buying what they need, because it's like, yes, you got to budget and you got to be mindful with your money, and you have to manage your money in the right way. But the bigger issue is the fact that people have to go and live below their means constantly, year after year after year, with no true what would I say, with no they're not coming up in life, basically. They're not like, they're working all these times or all this time for years after years after year, and they really don't have anything to show for it. Like, yeah, maybe in a couple years you'll be able to afford a new car, but then you go and look at the car market's up, right? So then that car that you once was working to be able to afford, now you might have higher premiums on the car. Now the car might cost more, your car note might have went up, and now maybe it makes it that much more difficult to buy the car. Because if you go and look at how many like trucks and newer cars, like the markets are up, you have people that are car salesmen that are having to basically sell some of the stuff at half price, and sometimes it's still not even selling. So it's really a bigger economic issue right now, and I'm just trying to see if anybody can basically school me on, is it going to get better, how it's going to get better, what's your thoughts, what's your insights on it, how do you feel about it? Are you one of those people that are working, maybe don't necessarily need the benefits, but you're still living below the poverty line in your own opinion, or you need benefits and you're living below the poverty line, and how are you planning to be able to afford things and live comfortably again? So if that's a possibility right now, just it's just a conversation. You guys let me know. If you happen to see this video, like, comment, share, subscribe. I love you guys. I'm out.